Undersecretary Juan Carlos Baker, Undersecretary for Foreign Trade of Mexico. These have been very busy days for you. What are your expectations for a possible renegotiation of the Nafta agreement with the United States and with Canada?
Yes, thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity. Very busy days indeed, but most of all, Mexico has been preparing itself for a review of the Nafta. What we have said, President Peña Nieto, Secretary Ildefonso Guajardo have said that in the current context of the relationship in North America, there are many things that we can do. After all, the Nafta has been in effect for the past 23 years, so the world has changed in that period of time, and there are many elements that we can include as part of the agreement, elements such as e-commerce, services, telecommunications, energy, competition policy, and so on. However, having said that, it is also important to underscore that Mexico believes in a positive review of the Nafta. What that means is that Mexico is not in a position to entertain any possibility of establishing schemes where duties will be paid again, or where schemes of managed trade or restrictions to our trade will be imposed. Quite the opposite. Mexico believes that it's important to keep the free trade spirit in North America in order to remain competitive. So as long as the discussion continues to be on a positive track, Mexico will be engaged and Mexico will be participating. But otherwise, it's important to also send the message that Mexico continues to believe in open markets, continues to believe in the integration of our economies, and also with other economies in the world. It's not only about the NAFTA, but also about the place that Mexico occupies in the world with other trading partners as well.
The focus of the American administration seems to have shifted over the last few weeks over the rule of origin, the overall regime of the rule of origin of the NAFTA. So do you see room for improving the rule of origin rule of the agreement?
Well, I see opportunities for improvements in many areas. Naturally, rules of origin, which is the requirements that need to be met so that products are considered originating from a particular region and hence given the preference, the tariff preferences. Some of them can be updated for sure. Some of them can be strengthened also for sure. But again, it needs to be seen on a case-by-case basis because the reason why the rules of origin establish certain contents or certain parameters for the granting of the preferences are either because the inputs needed to manufacture that particular good come from abroad, or because there are other sources rather than regional that are cheaper with a high level of quality. So if what we are doing in North America is to increase production of certain inputs or certain products in the region, that's a very great idea as long as it complies with those requirements that I'm telling you. But again, it needs to be seen on a case-by-case basis, and also it needs to be seen in conjunction with other disciplines that are part of the NAFTA. You cannot speak about rules of origin without looking into the procedures for verification of origin as well, so that you do not grant preferences to countries or to products that will not be entitled to such preference as well, and also without looking at the tariff part, because in many cases, given other commitments that our countries have with other trading partners, some of those products might be actually duty-free, in which case the discussion on rules of origin might not be the most relevant element.
Okay. Not only 80% of Mexican exports more or less go to the United States, but also 50% of the foreign investment that comes into the country comes from actually US-based investors. But over the last few weeks, over the last few months, single states around the country increased efforts to better engage with Asian investors. This has also been the case, obviously, for the federal government, for the national government. So, do you see Asian investors potentially replacing in the future, or anyway filling any gap left by American investors under this new administration of Donald Trump?
Well, certainly, I think that, as I mentioned in an earlier comment, Mexico believes in open market. Mexico believes in open trade, free trade and also believes in the possibility of invest capitals in several parts of the world. Mexico has consistently in the past few years been ranked as one of the top destinations for foreign investment, and certainly some Asian countries, notably Japan, has been investing a lot of money in Mexico, but also we are seeing capitals from other countries, China in a lesser degree, but still nonetheless we are seeing some Chinese capitals coming in, people from Singapore as well investing heavily in Mexico, but likewise European firms and Latin American firms. At the end of the day, Mexico believes that if we create the conditions in our country, not only for export to produce and export to other markets as well, but also to sell domestically. At the end of the day, Mexico is a market that has 120 plus million consumers. We are a big market by our own right. So if the conditions are there for capitals to come and invest and create jobs, certainly Mexico will continue to incentivize those capitals to come. I really don't like I wouldn't use the word substitution from one investor to the other, because we really have a policy that opens doors for all types of investors.
And Secretary Baker, thank you very much for your comments and for being with us today.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.